Hello and welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, beautiful ladies. What's going on? I'm your host, August. We have Anitra, Andrea, and Miss M, better known as Momo. How's it going, ladies?
Good, good, good.
Well, today is Taking It Back Thursday. And what are we taking back? We're taking back everything that's being put out there. We just going to handle it real quick and introduce folks to a couple of topics. But you know what we always have first up? Instead of history today, we're just going to go a little bit deep. We're going to dive deep with Monique. Monique, you want to set up your video?
Sure thing. I wanted to talk about the lack of transparency by the Pentagon. They're withholding dozens of troop injuries and Iran strikes. And I understand how you can't announce what you're doing, but after the fact, when our soldiers are being harmed or put in harm's way, there needs to be transparency. We need to know what's going on. And they haven't been very forthright with a lot of information. So we have a video. It's kind of lengthy, so we may stop it and discuss in between, but just a little update about what's been going on lately.
Well, I see Angry Army Vet out there, so I'm so glad for that. I look forward to hearing her comments. Hey, Connie, welcome back. Hope all is well with you.
While trying to detonate a downed Iranian attack drone, and remains have been recovered in Jordan amid the search for a service member still missing after an Iranian attack that left two others dead. And just moments ago, the Pentagon identified those two soldiers who were killed in Jordan. First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan, a 25-year-old from Hawaii, and Private Isabel Gonzalez, a 19-year-old from Texas. President Trump spoke about the losses.
Well, we feel very badly, but those great people, those great patriots are out there fighting that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Iran has been very, very badly damaged. They've lost everything almost militarily.
Let's get to Kevin Liptak live at the White House for the latest reaction from there. Good morning, Kevin.
Yeah, this has been one of the deadliest stretch of days since this war began almost 4 months ago, really ratcheting up the cost for Americans, but also deepening the quandary for President Trump. And the death toll does appear likely to rise. CENTCOM saying that it's still working to identify remains that were found at the site of that attack on Jordan. They say that two service members had been killed when they came under attack from Iranian missiles and drones. We also understand that there was an additional death in northern Iraq over the weekend when a service member was working at a controlled detonation of unexploded ordnance. Both of these incidents, I think, underscoring that Iran really does retain missile and drone capabilities that perhaps President Trump may have been underplaying over the last several months, but also seems to have the ability to evade U.S. Air defense systems. Really comes amid escalating exchanges between the two countries, both sides going after increasingly sensitive targets, including civilian infrastructure. Last night, CENTCOM saying that it carried out the ninth straight consecutive night of attacks on Iran. And I also understand from U.S. officials that additional American firepower is heading to the region, including F-16 jets, F-35 jets, as well as additional aerial refueling tankers, all now heading to the Middle East. It's all, I think, led to some anxieties as you see these increased attacks by the U.S. on southern Iran, that perhaps President Trump could be preparing for some sort of ground invasion. And certainly the president is at something of a strategic crossroads here as he determines which way to go amid this escalating conflict with Iran. Of course, these deaths, I think, just reiterate that the U.S. doesn't actually need ground troops in Iran in order for positions in the region to be at heightened risks. Those troops that are arrayed across the Middle East are now coming under fire.
3 American deaths in just 24 hours, a ninth night of strikes. Kuwait intercepting attacks once again this morning. What does this tell you about the threat level to the thousands of troops now, not only in the region, but around the world?
Well, let's get his answer on the other side.
Yeah.
Monique, this is something
Yes, yes. And I was reading too, and of course, there's such a defensive posture, from Pete Hegseth and the Pentagon when asked about why they had not been a little bit more forthcoming with what's going on. Of course, we're not obligated to report on injuries and such. But the thing about it is, you're sending these people into a war that we still don't quite know what it's about. And so it's very vital that we have this information, and they're underplaying it because they want it to seem as though we're in there, we're doing something, and we're accomplishing something, when it seems like all that's happening is that our troops are being put in harm's way and being killed and injured for nothing. And the more it escalates, the more danger that they're in.
Anyone else before I go back to the tape?
Well,
I think some of what
Trump
we're
was
doing is
on MS Now right now. I mean, he was on MS Now this afternoon, and he said it was going to be some more countries that were going to be attacked, not just the ones we've attacked already. So he really isn't telling the truth about us just doing a couple of countries. This is the beginning of a list of wars.
Anitra?
I just think that it's war crimes he's doing, hitting the infrastructure that he's hitting. They're keeping it all quiet, and the casualties again, they're hiding from us because they're only people who want to make themselves look superior. They don't want to say that we had somebody die or whatever, but they're by doing that they're disrespecting our troops, in my opinion.
Let's go to the answer.
So it tells us that our air defenses have to be right all the time, and the Iranians only have to be right once. And unfortunately, we did see some pretty substantive attacks. I'm hearing from multiple U.S. officials that the number of casualties actually in these attacks, particularly in Jordan, was much higher. That there could have been several dozen wounded in Jordan alone, and additional attacks in Saudi Arabia. And that when they hit the base in Erbil in northern Iraq, it was actually it hit a weapons storage depot as well. There were secondary explosions there. So quite a substantive attack. I'm told that the Iranians also look like they've adapted their tactics based on previous strikes, in which they have maneuverable warheads now coming off the missiles that are coming in, and that's making it more difficult to shoot things down. So not a lot of information has been released, but that is so far what I'm being told by U.S. officials.
The New York Times also reporting that the number of U.S. troops that have been injured in attacks has not been disclosed over the past few weeks. Jordan, in particular, has been on the receiving end of a number of these strikes. What message is Iran sending by specifically targeting Jordan?
So Iran, they've targeted Jordan, and this attack was successful, unfortunately, but they've also attacked many of our other bases in the region. So it's twofold. It's part of their overall strategy that they've launched in response to the U.S. Military action that was launched several months ago, and that is they want to maximize U.S. casualties. They want to ensure that the Gulf states and also Jordan, where we have basing that's being used to launch, put pressure on Washington to end the war, and they want to increase the cost of goods by choking off the Strait of Hormuz by holding it at risk. And lastly, they want to cause division within the president's political base. I'm told by multiple sources in the region that those are the four courses of action Iran is pursuing as part of an asymmetric strategy to get the U.S. to end its military operations.
Well, before we go on, let's hear from Angry Army Vet. Highlight what she's saying. Momo, please, and someone read it. We need to get that engagement from our supporters and viewers.
You're on mute.
While she's trying to get that up, go ahead.
Well, Angry Army Vet said they don't have to be transparent, unfortunately. It's the right thing to do, but they are not obligated to do so. With this regime, they will be absolutely no transparency and trust nothing or numbers. Because the numbers and everything Donald says is a lie. There are more people that have died than this, and even Jazzy is bringing out four that they mentioned already, and hundreds have been injured. And he tried to equate it with the wars and the other wars that we've had, where hundreds and thousands have been killed. So he's just trying to excuse it.
It's
I'm
okay,
with
Jazzy. You could be blunt. Forgive me for being blunt, but I'd like to know why 4 service members were killed when this war began because we, Rubio, said we hit Iran because it was going to hit Israel. Why are young members dying for BS? Great question, Jazzy.
Hmm.
Anybody else want to tack it? I think Anitra,
That's
you
one of
was
my
about to.
biggest issues is that we don't really it is I'm not saying it's for nothing, but it's for nothing. And they're putting them out there and it's just part of a they're just using their bodies. And I think that's just immoral.
Miss Connie is saying, I think it's kind of like the Vietnam War. Why were we there and what was accomplished? My understanding is nothing. You spot on, Miss Connie. You spot on. Once again, we're in a place where we need not to be, and we're not getting anything out of it. And my Jamie is saying there is no purpose. It's a war of bruised ego. It's only one ego that's bruised. Well, maybe two. Now that I think about Mr.
Hexa.
Hegseth, yeah. So
And
it
the thing
is
about
two.
it too is that they said that some of the U.S. Troops are have trapped themselves in this mountainous area where they don't know how they're going to get out. So that's going to be some more deaths where they bombing Israel. They're bombing some of our troops in, and they don't, and they're not talking about it as much as they should be.
Mr.
Yeah.
Jamie is absolutely correct about the egos and Connie talking about the war of nothing. To me, after it's over, it's even harder for the troops to recover because at least they had the knowledge that they did some good, even if they were hurt or injured. But it's hard to know that you stepped out for a cause and that you lost life and limb or risked life and limb for somebody's uh agenda.
I just want to say this. The reason why we're talking about this war is because one, we shouldn't be there. For two, it's bullshit. And for three, we have our own young people that are out there on this wall, on this line, getting hurt. For what? For what? For tariffs? For oil
And to come
that we
home to
had
what?
previously? And you tore up the contract? Let us not forget. Let's stay focused. There was a contract in place that his ego couldn't handle. But that's a whole nother thing. Let me finish up,
Group
Momos.
chat is back, and we're adding retired Air Force Colonel and CNN military analyst Cedric Layton. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances, as the death toll of U.S. killed in action is now 17. I want to ask about one of those deaths. They were trying to detonate a drone, right? A Iranian drone lands. They're trying to get rid of it. Someone dies in the process. And it reminded me of the fact that the US has had to have this whole system to intercept and deal with drones, an expensive system. How is it handling up under the onslaught from Iran?
Yeah, well, this is one of the key questions that CENTCOM and really all military officials in the U.S. have to answer this morning, Audie. And, you know, one of the things to look at here is that the Iranians have some very cheap, very efficient drones in many respects. So, you know, when you look at one of the common ones, the Shahid 136, about $30,000 a pop. And if it's coupled with explosives, then you've got a whole different set of things to worry about. So when the explosive ordnance disposal technicians look at these weapon systems, they have to go in and they try to defuse them, basically diffusing bombs when they do this. And we know that many of the drones that the Iranians have fuses that go off after the bomb, or after the drone impacts a particular area. So
After it impacts, then it goes off again?
It can.
Is this a sense, is this adaptation? Are we seeing an Iran that has not been obliterated militarily, but has found ways to adapt?
Well, they've definitely found ways to adapt, and sometimes there are malfunctions of their equipment as well. So in this case, we're probably talking about a malfunction. But those are the kinds of things that do happen. And the explosive ordnance folks look at these things in an effort to try to determine what those weapons actually are, what they're capable of, and how they actually, how they explode, how they work, and whether or not there are other countermeasures that we can use. So when it comes to those countermeasures, we're looking at a lot of different things, and it's definitely a very difficult problem set because it's a lot cheaper to throw things like drones of the Shahed type against a particular target than it is to defend.
So it's not that we're running out of things, it's that we are running out of the things to intercept?
Well, there are some things that we're running out of, or at least there's difficulty. Like, for example, the Patriot missiles. When you look at the PAC-3 interceptors that are part of the Patriot packages, those are, first of all, hard to build. When you look at the rate of production and the rate of expenditure of those missiles, then it becomes a shortage. But the key thing to remember, Audie, is this: CENTCOM and other elements are moving into a different era where we're actually using drones against the Iranians as well. And some of the defense systems that we have right now are actually of the cheaper variety. There's a system called the Lucas system, for example, that is a reverse engineered Shahed drone, and it is about $30,000 to $40,000 as well in terms of its expense. So we're getting to the point where we're getting better at that fiscal equation.
All right, let's stop it here. Back over to you, Mama.
The rest of it is basically going to be just more information about what's going on. And the latest is that Congress, once again, and I think it was just performative, passed the War Resolutions Act, once again limiting what he can do, telling him he has to stop hostilities. But then the Senate, knocked it down. So basically, everything that they're doing
is.
Well, she lost her camera
But
here.
anyway, um, let's take a look at what Jazzy is saying.
I know if I think I have a little delay
oh
in the
yeah,
feed, so if
it's
I
for nothing. They're just using yeah, it's for
They're using the service members to do their bidding. This is not beneficial to our country. It's hurting service members and civilians. Ridiculous. Now, Jazzy, if that's not a word. Also, Jazzy go on to say it's for nothing. They're just using service members for their bidding.
And then, as she says, like Trump comes out and he's downplaying the whole thing. The nerve of him to say, "Oh, the troops are all gung ho," like, yeah, they can't have a nuclear weapon, but we're supposedly had decimated their military. And like Jamie said, a decimated military can't do this much damage. They're doing so much damage, and I'm sorry to say this, folks, but we are actually losing this war.
Absolutely, we're losing it.
Well, they're fighting smarter, not harder. We're just not. They said that Hegseth the other day on MS Now is over his head. They don't have an actual plan. Yeah, we are losing because they stupid.
yeah, this is not our war. It's his war, and they're gonna have our children and cousins and friends lay their lives down on the line. And meanwhile, we trying to build $300 million ships and planes to go do something they're doing for $40,000. And the other thing is, and we more worried about how we're gonna get our DoorDash and our Amazon than we are about infrastructure anyway, and inventing something for less. So it's just he's spending our money like it's candy, doing whatever, and I don't think we're gonna have anything good come out of it. It's just gonna keep getting worse, and it's gonna be difficult to fix post Trump, and there will be a post Trump.
Well,
Yeah.
he's trying to keep us distracted away from Epstein. And while he's trying to keep us distracted, he's gotten confused. That's what seemed like is happening. because he's trying to grift us with the money, and then he's trying to get these data centers up that are trying to watch the Americans and see what we doing at all times, and we need to see what he doing at all times. And then he got his family over in Saudi Arabia trying to grift people over there. So he's trying to do too much, and he's an 80-year-old man that falls asleep and don't know what he's doing. He need to come home and just he need talking about Joe Biden and a cold. I wish he just had a cold and went and withdrew from the presidency.
Well,
All right, Momo, let's wrap this
Put
one
JD
up.
in his
yeah,
back pocket,
yeah,
take him with him.
we can close this up. But I want to keep that in the forefront because there's so much stuff coming at us all the time. And I just wanted to remind people that we are actually still at war. You know, the peace agreement is no more. We're bombing and we're striking daily, and our soldiers are in danger, and it's for nothing. It's for nothing.
You know, it's hard to be peaceful when you know that somebody killed your parents and killed your sister and her husband and other family members. It's hard to be happy. And I mean, we've destroyed some of their infrastructure, and what they were saying is if we destroy too much of their infrastructure, when somebody comes to, target on the U.S., that they're going to do the same thing to us that we did to other people. You get what you give.
This is true. This
Yeah.
is true. Anyone else before we move
Put it
on?
out into the ether and then expect nothing to come back. But you know what? As Americans, we've been taught that, but it's just not the case anymore. Hadn't been for a long time, and it's coming to the soil, and we can't insulate ourselves from everything.
Right.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So
But guess
we'll see
who's up
what's going to
next,
happen.
guys?
Miss
There she is.
Andrea.
And
Hey,
it's funny how an 80-year-old man is so angry. But sometimes we have to move on and change subjects, and we'll still get back to another subject that makes us crazy. And I don't know if anybody knows, the Mickey Mouse Club is coming back. They coming back. They're trying to give us all these white shows to watch, though. I want to watch some white shows and some black shows and some Mexican shows. I don't want to just watch Mickey Mouse.
I just can't with you. Well,
So
let
here
me
we
just
go.
go ahead and play your video.
Let's talk about the Mickey Mouse Club because let's do it.
When we were 10 years old, we got to learn how to be on camera. We got to learn how to write, dance, sing, act.
It was probably one of the most special times in my life as a Mickey Mouse Club.
The show that launched the careers of Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Ryan Gosling, Kerry Russell, and Christina Aguilera is making a comeback. E.T. can confirm 11 young actors will begin shooting the Mickey Mouse Club later this month. Disney Plus ordered the pilot. It's TBD on if it will be made into a series.
No, I want these cars.
Of course, E.T. was behind the scenes with the Mouseketeers back in 1993. There's J.C. Chazet before a performance in Florida. So would the OG cast be open to revisit the show?
Why? Because we like you.
Should we have a reboot? Would you be involved?
Woo, an actual reboot. I love those guys. I mean, are you kidding me? Ryan Gosling, Justin, Brittany, me. We definitely need some kind of a reunion at some point.
I would definitely show up. I would go. Definitely.
Would you ever be down?
Sure.
All right, that was it, Andrea.
I've been trying to get on that show for years.
You have?
Since Annette Furnicello was on there. I'm talking back then. I was like, I'm gonna be on that show. I used to
Yeah, you
I used to
talking way
practice.
back.
I
Yeah,
always wonder
MOUSC.
why are they always putting shows on channels that you have to pay additional costs for? Because they talking about it might be on Hulu, and I don't have Hulu, and I don't have all Disney, and I don't have. Well, they got all the money. They could play this stuff for free. Because back in the day on TV, I don't see any new movies being made. When I turn on Netflix now, I see the same stuff over and over again. Now I'm gonna turn Netflix off again.
Look at what Jazzy said. This is like knocking on my door to bring me cookies while my whole house is on fire. What,
right,
what is
right.
this time?
Right, you got the
Another
Mickey Mouse.
distraction.
Damn,
That's what it
Jazzy
is.
is right on point.
She is. She is. It's, okay, Mickey Mouse Club. The whole world's falling apart, but we're going to do the Mickey Mouse
What we
Club.
gonna do,
And then they
Mickey
acting
Mouse?
like some people didn't have mental health issues after it. I'm just saying. What was y'all teaching on there?
Well, we're going to transition and get a
Okay.
little serious again. Back
I'm
over
just
to
saying.
Miss Jane. You want to set
That's
this
my
one up?
lady.
Well, Miss Elliott, I've been listening to her for a while now, and she's a very wise woman. And every time I try to bring her up in conversation, it seems like people don't really want to listen. But I think she should be listened to. I think she's right on point. Hoping you can open your hearts and minds, because if we just could all live in this country and love one another and not have nothing to do with the color of our skin or the texture of our hair, I think we could really get along. So
Never gets into his adult ego
listen, Miss
state
Jane.
unless he's reading off the teleprompter. And he is such a poor reader that oftentimes he makes mistakes and then he is instantly in his child ego state right in front of your very eyes. It's absolutely fascinating to watch it happen.
Speaking of our president, a lot of people say that racism has risen under him.
Anybody who doesn't say that hasn't been paying attention. It absolutely has. The kinds of things that are being said in this country today are things that he has said for the last 2 years. He has said them publicly, and he got elected because he said them publicly. We have a group of people in the United States of America who were in response to 8 years of a black man in the White House and the possibility that they might have from 4 to 8 years of a woman in the White House will elect anything that walks and can chew gum at the same time. Last election, as far as I'm concerned, was a direct response to having a black man in the White House for 8 years. And it's time to change the White House to the President's house. This is ridiculous. To call the place where the President of the United States lives the White House, it sends the wrong message. I remember when Richard Nixon said to a group of reporters, "I'm trying to save the White House for you white people." That says it all. And at that moment I thought, well, wait a minute. Now this is something that has to be changed, and it has to be changed. Nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. It's time to change the name of the White House to the President's house or the President's residence, which has a nice ring to it, don't you think?
Let's just say that President Trump is trying to bring the country together like he said he would do. Wait a second. He's trying to bring the country together. How would he go about doing that?
Resign. If he really wants to bring the country together, all he has to do is resign and take his, with him, the second in command, the vice president. That would bring the country together. But right now, the only way he can bring the country together is put somebody else in the president's office. He does not know how to be a president. He does not know what legislation is about. He does not know how to do this job. He didn't intend to get this job. And had it not been for the Electoral College, he wouldn't have this job. Mrs. Clinton won the popular vote. The only reason we have this person as the president of the United States right now is because the members of the Electoral College didn't do what that Electoral College was designed to do. Thomas Jefferson designed that to make sure that no one who was unfit for that office would ever be elected president of the United States. The Electoral College last year absolutely defeated that.
You criticized President Trump.
Did I?
One thing that a lot of people have criticized former President Obama on was not speaking out on race enough. Do you think he failed in that?
What if he had spoken out enough on race? Imagine what would have happened to him. The man is still alive. Do you remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? Do you remember Malcolm X? Do you remember all those people have been killed not because of the color of their skin, but because of the fear of white people, that someone who isn't white is going to look better, sound better, act better, do better than they do. Mr. Obama was the president of all of us. He wasn't just the president of black people. He was the president of all of us. The man who's there now is and claims to be the president of the people who look like him. When he says, make America great again, what he's really saying is, make America hate again. And until people in this country and people in this world get it into their heads that the first modern human beings that evolved on this earth were black women, they evolved in sub-Saharan Africa about 280,000 years ago. And every human being on the face of the earth today has the memory of those black women's genetic structure in their genes. Now, we don't want to admit that, but that's the way it is. As people moved farther and farther from the equator, their bodies produced less and less melanin, so their hair, their skin, and their eyes got lighter. As they moved into the east, they ate a lot of fish and a lot of vegetables, so their skin took on a different tone. You don't really want to get me started on this because
I do want to get you started.
I'm really angry about how we are miseducating the American mind.
And that young man who was talking about MAGA, you need to realize that MAGA stands for Make Americans Grumble Again. And that's that make Americans grovel again. And that's exactly what we are doing in order to keep that man from destroying this democracy. That is the problem, people. He wants to destroy this democracy. He wants to turn it into either an oligarchy or a theocracy. And this is a man who talks theocracy, who holds the Bible upside down.
And I'm real sick of hearing people say to make America great again, because that word again means go back to the 50s, which was real good for white men, but wasn't worth a damn for people of color and women. You need to know that, and that's what this fool wants us to do. Country, the way you run a business, particularly in view of the fact that so many of his businesses he didn't run. They were run by other people who knew what they were doing, and that's the reason they succeeded. What he tried to do, run a business, failed. We can't afford to have a failure in the White House. They could kill me, but they couldn't kill the idea. Victor Hugo said, "No force on earth can stop an idea whose time has come." The idea of one race, the human race, is an idea whose time has come. We are not going to be able to stop it no matter what they do. They can elect Trump after Trump after Trump, and that will not stop the idea that there's only one race on the face of the earth. It's the human race, and we are all members of it. You and I are cousins. Now, if you don't like being my cousin, that's too bad for you. But we are all in the same family. We are members of the family of man.
Yes, guys, before we continue.
Wow. Wow.
I
Andrea,
love it.
back over to you.
I love it because we are, what's unusual to me is that we all know that we're descendants of Adam and Eve. Even if you don't know the Bible, you do know that two people came first. Two people came first, and then and we didn't one day just stand up from monkeys and start being humans. That's what they wanted us to believe, evolution, and that's not true. I believe in the power of God, and I believe in that we two started, and we are all brothers and sisters in Christ as far as I'm concerned. Cousins, aunts, and we're everything, and until we start fighting this war together and trying to keep our country in a democracy, we're destined to destroy it. Even with these data centers that is contaminating our water and is using so much electricity, we're going to destroy ourselves. With Donald Trump in office and with data centers, this world, I mean, we on an uphill battle right now. So I want you to get out and vote. Don't forget to vote. Don't wait. Some people that are not registered, just like I just changed my address, I still haven't gotten my registration card. But I want to remind you, you don't need your actual registration card. You either need your passport or your driver's license, and it has to match. It has to match your name on your voter's registration. You don't have to have the actual voter registration card with you to vote. What do
All
you
right.
need?
Well, let's go to your other video.
Well, I didn't know if
Brought her
the other
back.
ladies had anything to say. Did
But the
y'all have anything
last
to say?
wolf,
She always say,
the last wolf, he's the leader. He makes sure nobody is left behind.
well,
He
that's
keep
funny.
the pack together, and he'll do anything, and he's ready to move in any direction to protect the pack. True leadership isn't about always being at the forefront. It's about understanding the strengths and weaknesses of those people around you and positioning yourself and them where you all can succeed. Like the wolf pack, where the strongest lead from behind to protect and guide the group. Leadership is about strategy, support, and sacrifice, not just visibility. By looking at this image of the wolves, you can truly learn a lot about leadership. See, the
All right. Back over to you, Andrea.
Well, I didn't hear from the beginning, but it is just like I said earlier about Israel and Iran. Well, Iran in particular, that they're more strategic in what they're doing. We're just out there. He's just trying to distract from Epstein, and it's not working. And he's just getting people killed, and there's gonna be more people killed. Somebody gonna get killed. The whole everybody gonna get killed by accident just because he making
Because the plane.
mistakes.
So I know Monique had this up. Monique, you wanted to read what
I
Jazzy
don't know
had to
what we're
say?
gonna do. It seems like it's just
Yeah.
too much going on all at the same time. I'm exhausted. I'm a little bit saturated with him and his regime, but I can't be. I can't be atrophy. I got to keep fighting. So, because there's always something new every day, and I have to pick and choose what's the topic for the week, the most important.
Right. Jazzy was saying that now this was when we were showing Miss Jane. Trump does that because he doesn't want a united country. A population is easier to control when they are blaming each other instead of seeing the same thing as the fault of their division. And I agree wholeheartedly with that. That I like her because she makes you uncomfortable. The things that she says makes you really uncomfortable, but they also make you think. She's very blunt and she's very straightforward about it. And that is what we are right now. We are a nation divided, and we all need to come together because the real enemy is not your neighbor. It's the oligarchy up there, the millionaires and the billionaires, and they're robbing you blind and they're making you hate your neighbor, and we just need to come together.
I do love it that we're waking up and that more people are like, miss us with it, like that, because they're not falling for it like they used to, and so I think that's pretty cool. But like we said, we got to move faster and harder because it's getting ready to come. We coming into the midterms. It's about to get serious.
Well, that's why when we was watching Don, or was on Don earlier, and I was asking him why the white gentlemen haven't come forward and talked about what happened with Nolan, and I just said it. I knew the answer because money talks, and so his family had the money to move them somewhere else until they can get subpoenas to make them have to go to court. And when you get money, though, you can also leave the country.
Well, money's power, period, especially in
So,
America.
and that's what they want, money and power. And so,
They already
I
got it.
wonder if we'll ever get to what really happened to Nolan. So, you know,
We'll get an idea, I think, but I think we'll never really know.
So
Hopefully.
tonight's topic is definitely about
Call
we need answers.
California psychics. Maybe they'll tell us.
We need
But that's the only way
answers
we're
and
gonna
we
find
need
out the truth because too many people got just lie. But I'm gonna say this about that. If you got 3 fat girls at a party of supermodels and we all 5'4" and 5'6", and everybody 6 foot, and you don't notice that I did something weird, something wrong with you.
So as I was saying that today's topic is that we need answers and we need answers now, not only in regards to our military. And thank you, Mo, for that piece. Thank you, Andrea, for Miss Jane. Mickey Mouse can miss us. That's not going to help put food on the table or help someone get ahead. It really feels like they just want us all to fail, but with each other, we will not fail. Um, I want to play this video real quick, just to make us smile.
España, clearly the best.
Just to make us smile. Let us feel a little bit better.
This year's tournament, and they celebrated receiving the World Cup trophy with a trophy hoist, which is traditionally, it's a moment that is shared really only by the players, a special moment that is only for the players. It is really just, what the are you doing on the stage? It's for the players. God damn! Why must everything be tainted by the overinflated ego of Kenkel's Muldoon? Why? Why? I will admit this. Afterwards, Trump had some really insightful post-game analysis.
I thought it was incredible. It was 4 times greater than any FIFA ever held.
What's a FIFA? How do you hold a FIFA? How could our FIFA be 4 times greater than any other FIFA?
And it's probably about 5 times, actually, they're telling me today.
Is that what they told you? You know, they're telling you that because everyone around you lies to you. Because you're a weirdo. Can we go back a second, though? And I don't mean to. What's up with the guy behind Trump? Can we see that again? Can you bring that out? Who the f is this guy? Who the f is this? Is this what? Who in the world is it? Oh my God! Is that a backup Trump? Is that? Wait a minute! Wait! Hold on a second! Wait! What? Wait! Who? What? Is that a backup Trump or is that Trump? Wait, is the one we've been dealing with backup Trump? Congrats to World Cup champions, Spain, España.
All right. All right. Back over to you guys with that. Just needed you guys to take a break from the heavy. Do you think he has a body double? Huh? Yes? No?
He possibly could. I mean, you know, right now there's a very credible threat on his life from Iran, so I'm sure that they probably do have they probably have a body double for him.
Well, that was definitely his body double. At least that made Connie smile. I'm great. I'm glad, Connie, that we were able to cheer you up. And Jazzy said, probably, right?
And Trump too looked stressed out back there. He looked like he was like smoking Newports, shorts, like just. I got kids.
His health. He might be the
Oh
target
my
too.
gosh.
You blame
Oh
him?
my gosh.
Well, you know, Miss Andrea will have a funny for you a little bit later. But right now, I think we should think about, let's go to our next story. And I've been you heard a lot about it, but we're going to have this beautiful gem go ahead and bring it to us. And it is her time. And we'll
Hey.
give her a little bit. So go ahead and set it up.
Okay, y'all. So here we go. So we've been talking about all these things, and they're all food for thought. But let me tell you, food is the problem. Right now, we have the cyclospora out. And we always have it every year. It is what we're talking about, trigger alert, explosive diarrhea. And it's more than that, it can really harm you. We don't know the origin yet, but we're trying to figure it out. And they've been guessing and destroying some businesses. Taylor Farms, they blamed. Taco Bell, they blamed. And the truth is, they don't know. So I'm coming to give you some information to protect yourself, to get you in the know. And I am a nurse. Like I said, anything I tell you is for information purposes only. But if you have questions and I can answer them, I will. And I'll talk to you after this video.
This is an important
we'll go
update
from
regarding
there.
the cyclospora outbreak, which is the parasite causing thousands of Americans to be sickened with explosive diarrhea across the United States. My name is Dr. Rubin. Today is July 22nd, 2026. And with the CDC's most recent numbers, this is clearly the worst cyclospora outbreak that has ever been recorded in the United States. The CDC has reported that there have been over 4,100 cases confirmed by laboratory testing, over 300 that have been hospitalized, and no deaths, but it now spans 41 states in the country. The CDC also recognizes that about 7,400 cases are suspected but have not been laboratory confirmed, and about 770 cases that were acquired from outside the United States through international travel came home and started to develop symptoms at that point. Now, in order to conceptualize these numbers, if you take the suspected and confirmed cases together, that's an estimate of about 3 cases per 100,000 people in the United States, which is not really that much. However, it's likely an undercount of the total numbers because there's several people who may have symptoms and may not seek medical attention, or it could be delayed. So we have to extrapolate and get a general estimate of what may be going on. So it's possible that it could be somewhere between 10 to 30 cases per 100,000, or roughly about 1 in 5,000 people, which that's not necessarily representative of what it's like for the entire population in the United States, because there's clusters of cases. So there may be some communities that see a high number of cases versus others may see no cases at all. I also want to reiterate that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Health and Human Services Secretary, recently lied when saying that this outbreak is under control and that there were no cuts that led to problems. A couple of examples is the fact that the cyclospora lab from the CDC was cut from 11 staff members down to 3 in the past year, as well as the fact that FoodNet, which helps actively surveil for pathogens like cyclospora, was cut last year, and there hasn't been any redundant services in other agencies to replace this. Now, a lot of people are still wondering about whether they should be avoiding produce. And as of today, most produce is probably okay, especially if you're running it under water and scrubbing it down. Most fruits are going to likely be okay. Think about the lists of the fruits and vegetables that have been implicated in previous outbreaks. Our leading suspicion right now is salad greens and lettuce, which you may want to be careful about, especially if you're in a high-risk group. But when we know more information, I will let you know. So make sure you're hitting that follow button to stay informed. This is an important...
Yeah.
Anitra?
To further go with that, high-risk groups, people, yes?
No, go ahead, hon.
Oh, okay. So the high-risk groups are people who are immunocompromised, older adults, and of course the young, as usual. Because, and if you start feeling symptoms, and you have a couple of episodes of this, call your doctor. Not necessarily go to the emergency room, but call your doctor and follow up and do what you got to do, because it is a parasite. It is not a bacterium, and it needs an antibiotic to cure it. Also, it could incubate for almost 2 weeks. So you may have gotten it 2 weeks ago, and then now all of a sudden today you're having symptoms. You don't know what you ate 2 weeks ago, so it's hard to track. I have another video coming up talking about how to protect yourself, and I'll talk to you on the other side of that.
But before we go to that video, I just got to laugh at Jazzy's comment. Somebody want to read it?
This probably started with RFK and his toilet seat licking self.
That's a good one, Jazzy.
Nasty, but
kudos to you.
From the explosive diarrhea that is sweeping across the United States right now. I previously made a video talking about washing fruits and vegetables, and it confused a lot of people, so I thought I'd clear this up. Cyclospora is a parasite that could live on fruits and vegetables. And unfortunately, when we wash our fruits and vegetables, that does not kill the parasite, but it may get rid of some of the physical contact of the parasite itself, which can still be beneficial. So number one, I would still recommend, if you are choosing to still eat fruits and vegetables, that you wash it thoroughly. But no, that will not necessarily kill the parasite. Number two would be if you're immunocompromised or elderly or those that are the highest risk, I would strongly recommend not eating raw fruits or vegetables at this current time, and make sure they are cooked if you are going to consume of them. Going along with that, even if you're not in the highest risk population group, it is still very reasonable to not consume raw fruits and vegetables at this time, and make sure you are cooking all of them to really decrease your risk of getting the parasitic infection. Number three, which is really important to know and to understand, is that we have cyclospora outbreaks every single year, and it's usually during these months. We're just seeing a very large uptick right now, and so it is important to be cautious, but not necessarily to be panicking. Number four is if you start to have very explosive watery diarrhea, seek medical attention and ask specifically to test for cyclospora, because it's not on routine stool tests. So by getting tested, if you're positive, we have available treatment options. Number five, if you get diagnosed, start treatment immediately with antibiotics. Yes, an antibiotic actually does treat this parasitic infection, and the antibiotic of choice is Bactrim. Now, if you have an allergy to Bactrim, you need to talk to your physician about this for alternative options, although the alternative options are a little thin. The last thing that I'll say is we actually do not know this source at this current time, unfortunately, but as soon as we do, I'll make sure to keep you guys updated. How to protect...
So, Nitra, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So are you telling me that it's not people that are pissed off and going in the fields and taking a dump or peeing?
No, it ain't that, but it is a shitty situation. I'm just saying, overall.
Just checking.
It's messed up. And I thought it might be coming from somebody, but they don't even know where it's coming from. And now they're suggesting it might be even in the water. So I give up on that. I don't know. Taylor Farms got their lick, and they was a false positive. So they don't know where it's coming from. They're just saying basically, if you're playing roulette with yourself, that Russian roulette when you're trying different fruits and vegetables right now. So if you have anything going on, if you're taking any kind of immuno suppression medicine, diabetes, anything like that, be careful about eating raw vegetables. Heat it thoroughly, get it to a certain temperature, kill it, because you don't want that gross stuff in your gut. Probiotics sometimes are good to take, but I don't even think it'll kill this because it's a parasite.
It
And I
is.
tell you what, all the cuts we have from RFK and all this, again, this regime is trying to kill us. They're gonna get us one way or the other. They're gonna kill us with money. We don't have no money to live, health insurance. They keep taking away people who's monitoring our food. How do you care for a country and make it great when
So,
you continue
Nietzsche,
to
with
it by your
all
policy?
these cuts, I have a question. With all these cuts, my question to you is, well, where's the money? If we had 11 people working in in that field, and they cut it down to 3, that money, where's that money? Where's that money?
It's
And if
somewhere
you
out there. Those
happen,
are supposed to take care of all that when they was doing the skimming, but they only skimmed what they wanted, and
You
that's the
know I know
problem.
the answer. I just want to put it out there.
Yeah,
and
with the
keep
money.
in mind that Texas is highlighted in that map that he showed. Texas was highlighted with that parasite, and keep in mind that Texas has the screwworm.
Yes, and Indiana is
And
surrounded.
pets are getting sick also right now.
Yes. Michigan, Ohio, I believe West Virginia, maybe a little bit of DC, are getting hit the hardest right now. And I'm here in Indiana, so I'm right here on the cusp. We have a lot of active cases in Indiana. They said there's 4,173 confirmed cases as of the time I was doing this research. 7,400, they said they believed is probably out there. But like they said, there's such a lag, and then their sickness is gonna vary based on their own health. So, like I said, it may be 2 weeks and you don't know, and you'd have been someplace else and you don't know what's doing it. So then it's just gonna keep going. And it's just interesting to me that we have it every year, and then this year we have an uptick in that, and we got the measles coming out and all this. But RFK is going around making sure everything's okay.
He going around licking the toilet. He's safe.
And and also, I want to just mention that the Taylor Farms false positive, that's questionable because they only got a false positive after he made some donations. He talked to the White House, and then suddenly it was a false positive. So, folks, do your research. Taylor Farms. There's also Taylor Farms under other names, like 365 and the Whole Foods and things like and Earthbound. So just be careful.
I have a fresh
Susan
bag, a
said
salad bag.
they are using it for bombs.
Yeah.
They said that if you do have a packaged lettuce, you're more likely to do better if you going to use the lettuce that you get fresh lettuce that you washed each leaf individually. But that's not that serious. I'm gonna have to get off lettuce for a while. Just have me some cooked broccoli. I'm good.
I don't know what to eat no more.
Dangerous. We don't know if the meat is real. We don't know if the vegetables gonna kill us. If we're gonna have water to take a shower with, we know we can't drink it. And
That's
in
how
the
I went
middle
to
of all of it,
pancakes. I went to pancakes because I was just confused.
I feel you on that, Andrea. Well, let's transition again. This happened 3 weeks ago, this story. However, I want you guys to definitely hear what's going on. And who could do it best?
Reflecting poem in the National Mall used to look like before Donald Trump was president. Here is what he has done to it now. A big green algae blob with a rim of some other color around the edge of it where they dumped a bunch of hydrogen peroxide into the pool. It's like the world's grossest counterfeit Rothko painting. Similarly, here's what the White House used to look like before Donald Trump was president. The White House had its grounds and environs. Here's what Trump has done to it. Goodbye, East Wing. Hello, giant hole in the ground. Hello, giant weird cage fighting contraption. Want another one? Here's another one. This is what the ellipse off the south lawn of the White House used to look like before Donald Trump was president. And here's what it looks like now. Nice. After Trump threw himself that birthday cage match and destroyed the ellipse. Great. The seat of America's government now looks like a carnival that's been hit by a tornado. And then the ruins were used for a BMX race and then a bonfire of tires. All that's left to complete the look is like a big rickety-looking Ferris wheel. Oh, wait, they just installed one of those today. Why does the beleaguered National Mall have a weird Ferris wheel now, you might ask? Well, this was just one of the things shipped in as part of Donald Trump's Great American State Fair, which is due to open up this Thursday. You might remember this was the event that was supposed to feature a number of musical performances from musical acts like Bret Michaels and Milli Vanilli. That was until even those artists realized they would be headlining a Trump event, and so they started dropping out. Imagine being the lip sync guy from Milli Vanilli and thinking your reputation couldn't stand that kind of a hit. When even the Milli Vanilli lip syncer said he was too embarrassed to be at the Trump event, Trump canceled the whole concert idea and announced that instead he would just hold a Trump rally. So there will be no concert at this event, but don't worry, because according to the event's website, the Great American State Fair will still feature 150 exhibits from, and I quote, all 56 states and territories.
Well, we know what happened with that. It failed.
They shouldn't call it White House no more. It's called the Trump dump.
It really failed. It really, really failed.
Ridiculous.
So I just wanted everyone to remember what things look like previous his taking over to what we're faced with right now. Let us never forget this, because we have a chance to take it back. This is Taking It Back Thursday, and we need you guys to get out there and do the right thing. Please do the right thing. We truly need it. Well,
We're gonna be
Andrea,
taking it back and paint the White House black. What the boy
Well,
said, ain't no future in your frontin'. Never was, cuz.
I think Project 2025 must have paid him to destroy the country, because to me, he's trying to kill everything before he dies.
yeah, he's like, if I gotta go out, I'm taking y'all with me.
Right.
The
Misery
whole
loves
world.
company.
So he said we're going to have more babies, but we're going to kill more troops. So are we really having more babies?
Nobody can get into that mindset, and I wouldn't want to at all. At all. But with that said, I have to bring up this precious soul
Yes.
because we want you guys to remember him. Let us say his name, Nolan
Nolan
Wells.
Xavier Wells. Sorry.
Absolutely. We have to say his name. And along with that, if you know anything, and I mean anything, please make sure, and we have that number scrolling, I hope. Maybe not, but we need to get that number up. Please, if you have
228
any information, please contact this number. That's 228 769 3063. That is that hotline, that tip line, and we're going to try to make sure we put this out there. Momo, anything from you as a mom?
Yeah, I just, it's a matter of answers. They, unfortunately, as parents, are probably never going to have closure. Parents should never have to bury their babies. But to not know what happened to him is probably even more disturbing for them. And so I just pray that they get answers. Someone knows something. There were too many people on that island not to know what happened to this young man. And the family just needs answers.
Again, that number is 228 769 3063. Please, we're begging you, young people. You had a great time. Now it's time for you to step up and do the right thing. Just check your photo reel. Just check all your photos. You just never know. You might have something in your background. You just might. Thank you so much for that. And, Miss Andrea, before we go to Miss Andrea's last take, I have one more for you that I just want to play. Because today is the day you need to hug someone. But if you're a mama's girl, this is what you normally do.
A big kid. Baby. Hold me.
Come on, put the leg up here. Yeah, not yet. She's not gonna do it yet. She's gonna do it. You're gonna tell me before. I am. We'll count down. It's my mom. Mommy. Mama.
Madre mía, madre mía. Vamos.
I'm gonna call my mom. Mommy. Mom.
There you go. See, that wasn't so hard. Now kisses.
Girl, be quiet. You see the key in my hand.
She did not see the key, so please don't tell her to be quiet.
Good morning, Mommy. I know you're sleeping. I'm on my way to work right now, and I put the scarf on like you told me because it's so cold outside.
So, please
I sat
remember your
between my
mama.
mama's legs. I told her I need to be rebirthed. I said, "What?" She said, if you don't get your overgrown butt off me.
So don't forget, hug
But
your
you need your
mom.
mama.
You really do. Please. And with that said, let's go over to Miss Andrea's.
That's what my mother used to look like. She said, I'm so old that I used the pencil to fix a cassette tape, changed the TV with a metal knob, and asked the operator to call me, help me make a long distance call.
All right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was your mom. I love it. I love it.
We would be together, and people would say they couldn't tell who was the mother, that she looked younger than me.
Wow. Now that's a blessing. And with that said, we are at the bottom of the hour. We just want to hear our last words. Won't you go ahead, Miss Anitra? Let us know.
Anitra?
She sends a heart. Andrea?
Those three friends of his know what happened. They know what happened in Nolan.
I hear you. And Momo?
Hug your mama. And if you're not near her, call her up and tell her you love her. If you're still blessed to still have your mom on this earth, make sure that she knows how much she means to you every day.
And from my flight deck, from our house to yours, thank you for stopping by. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And also, we're here at 3 p.m. this Saturday for our SIP. Make sure you go ahead and hit that channel and check us out because it is at Our Voice 1. Thank you, ladies, and thank you, everyone. See you soon. See you Saturday at 3 p.m.